This is my mastering setup for FL Studio, and it sounds like this. And if we bypass it, I've been spending a lot of time working on this template, and it's been through a lot of revisions, but I keep changing it, so I've decided to stick with this, and I'll explain how it works. Let's clear everything, and then open the mixer channel, and this track, or this channel, is where I have all the effects. So I'm starting with MJUC, which is a compressor. Actually, let's open the control surface too. And it's being controlled by, on the Digitakt, it's on track 16. It's being controlled by these three knobs. So there's makeup gain, and then threshold, and then drive. And that is followed by tape mellow-fi, which I'm using mostly for the drive. It sounds really nice. And there's also a little knob, two small knobs down here, which is controlled by the mod wheel and breath controller. And the mod wheel will control the tape, the intensity of the tape sound. And then there's Maximus, which I'm using as my EQ. And I'm using Maximus instead of a normal EQ because Maximus has it's a multiband compressor, and I really like the sound of the individual bands being compressed slightly. So if we look at how it changes the sound when I increase the makeup gain. Actually, let's take a listen. When I'm increasing the makeup gain, it's compressing more, and then I can raise the pre-gain with these two knobs, and same with the high band. And so I really like how it sounds, and I've been trying to replace it with just a normal EQ, different EQ plugins, but this is what stuck. And then finally I have this limiter, Tokidon Records Limiter 6, and it actually sounds very much like a normal limiter. So if you don't have the money to buy this plugin, this will sound exactly the same. It has a loudness meter, which can be toggled on and off, and it has a built-in compressor, which I'm using this knob for. Which is basically just an extra compressor with really short attack time, very short release time, and this knob controls the threshold, and it's only to add a bit of snap, so let's take a listen. Might not be very noticeable, but it adds, especially on the snare. Let's listen to the drums only. This is without. It adds a tiny bit of snap to the drums. And but yeah, you can really replace this with just a fruity compressor, and it'll do the same. Set the ratio to 4, attack time 15, release time 100 something, and then just change the threshold. So you don't really need this plugin, but it's very nice to have it all in one, and the loudness meter. And these controls are basically The level match control goes to this knob, which is when I'm level matching or when I'm changing the makeup gain. So this is what it sounds like when I don't have any effects on it. But if I increase the makeup gain and increase the loudness, it'll sound louder, so I'll just turn down the level match. And then I can press this button to basically bypass, and it'll mute this, it'll mute the wet track and unmute the dry track. So I can I can just level match as I go. So let's close everything again, and then open control surface, limiter, and there's one more thing. This plugin, the reason I have a VU meter on the Digitakt's channel is because the compressor doesn't have a built-in trim, so the breath controller controls this knob, and this knob controls this one. So I'm using this VU meter to gain stage properly. So when it's near zero, that's okay. And then I'll switch back to the main controls and leave this alone. This is only for gain staging, and that's why I don't have to have the plugin open, and I'm less distracted. So I can, and what I like about this setup is that I can, let's say I have done some changes like this. I can quickly reset this by just dragging all the controls like this, and then I can start making changes. Yeah, let's open this one. And then if I'm happy with these settings, I can copy these settings, or actually I can let's copy these settings, and then I can reload the pattern. Then I have the old settings back, and if I just press the track 16, and if you look up here now and I press the track 16 button, it'll send all these parameters to the control surface, and then I can paste the settings that I just copied and then send them, and then I can compare that way. Reload, send, paste, send, reload, send, paste, send. So it's a nice way to do an A/B comparison with two different settings and compare it to the bypassed version. So I thought I'll just use this on a couple of patterns just to demonstrate what it sounds like. So let's open this pattern. And yeah, let's start by turning everything down. I like to start with the gain staging, so I go to the second or the source page and turn up the input gain until it hits the red, and then the next thing I like to do is increase the compression, the drive on the compressor, until it sounds okay. And then I'll start increasing the makeup gain to get it up to, I usually aim for -10 LUFS, but to avoid tricking myself, I have this button so I can turn it off and then increase, just go by ear. So let's try that. And since things are starting to sound a bit squashed, especially the kick and snare, yeah, you can also see here. This is bypassed. So it's a bit squashed, so we can start turning the threshold, and yeah, we can start changing using the other controls. So let's do that. I'll increase the threshold. And let's see. Yeah, we're already around 10, so that's fine. We can turn makeup gain further down, so we can make room for the low and high EQ. And tape saturation. And then let's try to use the compressor snap thing. What I'm listening for is the snare. When compressor snap is at 0, it's the snare is a bit flat. And with the compressor snap at max, it's very snappy. Yeah, the kick too, but it's the snare that I'm most interested in. So, but I want something in between. Yeah, so let's copy it, and I think, actually, if I reload the pattern, yeah, there are some settings, so we can compare it to what I had before. Then paste the settings, reload settings. Yeah, so I'm not sure which one I like the most. The original settings had a bit too much drive, so I can turn down the drive a bit. And that sounds a bit closer to the settings I had. Yeah, and then let's try a different pattern. Let's see. Let's reset this. And just immediately add some tape wear, which I really like. And then gain stage. And then start tweaking. So start it with compressor drive and then makeup gain, and then turning down the level match at the same time. so it's at around 10. And let's try a few other patterns. Let's see, this one. Yeah, let's try this one. Let's first increase the input gain. And then let's mix this. Actually, let's try a different model, because MJUC has 3 models, and I mapped it to this control, but I didn't map these controls to the Digitakt, because I had an earlier version where I could control the 3 different models and the drive with this one knob, but and it works, but I ended up just not getting anywhere because I kept switching and trying new stuff all the time. So it's easier to stay focused when I have to click with the mouse, because that'll take me out of the mixing part and into the fiddling around part. So I kept these buttons away from the Digitakt. So let's try Mark 1. So what I'm listening for is the kick is a bit muffled. I want it to be not too distorted, which is why I'm taking the drive all the way up and then slowly reducing it while I'm turning the makeup gain up. So let's do this again. I like this crunchy sound. But now it's a bit too crunchy, so I'll turn it down. And I think this sounds okay. So let's turn up the threshold to make room for these other controls. That's very loud, so I can probably turn this down. Yeah, so let's try a different pattern. What's this? Yeah, here's one. So reset everything, and then increase the input gain. And yeah, let's try. Yeah, let's stick to Mark 1, and then we can switch to Mark 3 later. Yeah, so that's at -10 as well. But I had some different drums, which, yeah, they sound like this. Oh yeah, the tape thing, this one, it's very noticeable on high frequencies. And I like to dial it in by, let's take one with the piano, this one. Actually, just this one. This is what it sounds like without any tape wear. And if I increase it, start hearing some hissing noise or high frequency distortion. And that's from the wear knob. And the higher you go, actually it's increasing everything at different speeds. I really like the sound of the wear knob. And I don't want too much wow, but I really like the flutter as well. And I like noise. Mechanic noise is cool as well. But they're barely audible at down here. So it's not very noticeable on the drums, unless you go really high up. But for those times when I'm muting the drums and only hearing the softer melodies, that's when I like to dial down the tape wear. Not too much, I don't want it to be too intense. So yeah, down here somewhere. Let's mix this one as well. Start with the input gain. And then, yeah, let's try Mark 3, which is this model. It's distorting already, so I'll turn down the drive. and then increase the threshold. And I can turn up the makeup gain again. And then increase tape saturation. And then turn up the low EQ. It's distorting a bit, so I'll turn down the makeup gain. And this is where the tape saturation comes in. If I have too much wear, it will be very noticeable on piano sounds and other soft sounds, which is why I like to turn it down to here somewhere. And then increase compressor snap. So yeah, that's what I've been spending the last 3 weeks working on instead of making music. Is there anything else we can try this on? Yeah, maybe this one. Yeah, let's try this pattern. Actually, I don't need to gain stage at all. It's already hitting 0. I think this one will sound good with Mark 1. The kick is already distorting, so I'll turn down the drive, increase the threshold, and then we get that pumping effect. I think I made the kicks a bit too intense maybe, so maybe I can turn it down. It's already very loud, so I think I'll just stick with this. Just work around it instead. Let's try that again. Maybe with a different model, Mark 2. think the kick is a bit too intense. Yeah, these are okay. This one is a bit too intense. Yeah, and this one is also hitting 0 or minus 10 LUFS. So yeah, that's again, that's what I've been spending the last 3 weeks working on instead of making music. I'll put a link in the description for this project file if you're interested in checking it out. And yeah, that's it.